I'm Colonel Tom Kelly. We are on Bassett Creek in Clark County on the property of M.W. Smith Land Company. And I'm about to begin. We are in the woods. We're in a place where if a turkey comes up, I can drop this book and grab up this gun and try to shoot him if a turkey comes up. I've never done that before. And it is opening day of the fall season 2004. And I'm going to read Dealer's Choice. Chapter 1, first time. When the alarm clock went off at 3:30, he shut it off with an instinctive snatch and lay in bed for a minute, gathering his juices. He got up and padded barefoot to the window and saw 1,000 stars above and between the red oak tree and the lumber pile in the backyard. He walked down the hall and through the den into the kitchen, and with a minimum of noise started his pipe and the coffee pot in that order. Then he went in and woke up the child by kissing her on the back of the neck as usual at 3:45. She was sleepy and subdued, and he offered to leave her home, but she declined. She dressed in her room while he dressed in the dim kitchen to the sound of the coffee pot, and when he came back into the den, she was sitting in the chair struggling with her bootlaces. He offered Napoleon's remark about 4 o'clock in the morning, soldiers, was rewarded with a pained look, and went back into the kitchen and poured the coffee into the thermos. He took his gun from the corner where it stood behind a basket of miscellaneous sporting equipment belonging to the child, picked up a box of matches from the top of the refrigerator, and walked back into the den. She was sitting in the big chair, fully dressed, with her boots cross-laced over missed holes and with one side of her collar tucked under her shirt. Her cap was in her lap and she was nearly asleep. They walked down the front steps on the way to the car at 4 o'clock. 9-year-old girls do not drink coffee and are therefore unaware of one of the most marvelous accomplishments of the Confederate Army. This incomparable organization fought the war without coffee. They fought it, in fact, on a miserable substitute of ground parched acorns, which must have been infinitely worse than total abstinence. Heroism comes in all forms. 9-year-old girls breakfast on a package of dusty tasting donuts, thickly coated with powdered sugar, accompanied by a can of remarkably sweet and sticky orange drink. They eat and drink these horrors at 5 minutes after 4 in the morning with every indication of enjoyment. Heroism, as had been previously noted, comes in a variety of forms. After she had finished the donuts, the child put the remnants, half a can, of the sticky orange drink on the floor of the car so it'd be sure to tip over later, and slept quietly with her head on the man's leg. The early morning radio poured out its normal stream of farm news and livestock bulletins interspersed between mournful ballads of broken dreams and hopeless loves. The child woke up when he turned off the highway onto the dirt road and sat up when the car bumped across the first of the 2 log runways on the way in. When he got out to unlock the gate, he left the car door open, and the cool morning air coming in at the open door completed the process of awakening her. It was 4:45 when he stopped the car at the edge of the woods and switched off the lights. He ministered to the child there in the dark, spraying her hat and her hands and legs with insect repellent. He dabbed some on her ears and neck as well as on his own, slid the gun out of the case and loaded it, and walked northwest across the pasture with the child holding his hand. 9 is still young enough to feel the need for physical contact in the woods at night. It was getting light out in the pasture. He had stayed out there to make it easier for her to walk, but it was still dark down in the woods when they came to the northwest corner. He stopped and leaned his gun up against a tree and knelt down to listen. The child knelt beside him, facing in the same direction, with her cap turned up in imitation of his own. There had been a Chuck Wills Woodder calling constantly ever since they had left the car, and he debated telling her the story of the man who chopped up his wife because she wouldn't stop the whippoorwills. He could tell the story in whispers, but there was no way for her to giggle in whispers, so he decided against it. The first cardinal began, then the 24 odd bird calls he couldn't identify. 2 warblers flying in close line astern cut across the corner of the pasture and flew between the man and the child, making them both flinch. At a range of 3 feet, even a 2-ounce warbler's wings make him sound as big as an eagle. He had raised his hand to his mouth and inhaled, and was just at the point of hooting like an owl when a turkey gobbled at the extreme northeast corner of the pasture, 3/4 of a mile from where they knelt. They came up instantly, the girl classifying the sound as quickly as he, and he collected his gun and started down the north fence, still out in the pasture at a fast walk.